Hello everyone, this is Mr. Dent, and these are the notes for Chapter 17, Section 4, The Rise of Austria and Prussia. I'm going to do something different here. For the introduction on the next slide, I'm going to read a summary, and just listen and please take notes. So it's an overall summary. The Rise of Austria and Prussia. Between 1618 and 1648, the nations of Europe fought each other in the 30 Years' War. What started as a fight between Catholics and Protestants soon became a political battle. Armies burned villages and destroyed cities. 1/3 of the population of the German states died. When the 30 Years' War finally ended, France had won victory from both Germany and Spain. The Netherlands and Switzerland became independent states. The war left Germany divided into more than 360 states, and the Habsburgs, rulers of the Holy Roman Empire, lost land. After the 30 Years' War, two new powers emerged. Although the war weakened the Habsburgs of Austria, they still wanted a strong empire. They conquered Bohemia, Hungary, and parts of Poland and Italy. However, the Habsburgs were unable to completely control their empire. Around the same time, the Hohenzollern family united a number of German states. The Hohenzollerns built a powerful Protestant nation called Prussia. By 1750, Austria, Prussia, France, England, and Russia were the strongest nations in Europe. These nations tried to maintain the balance of power. Two or more nations formed alliances to keep another nation from becoming too strong. To maintain the balance of power, nations sometimes went to war. For this third slide, The Rise of Austria and Prussia visual summary, what I would like you to do is pause the video now and write down, to the best of your ability, Austria under the Habsburgs and Prussia under the Hohenzollerns. You can do that now. So now the 30 Years' War comes about, from 1618 to 1648. Now the big thing to know, the key here is, with the 30 Years' War, it was religious and political in nature. So it was between the Catholics on one side and the Protestants on the other, and then it ballooned later on into political problems as well. So it was religious and political in nature, starting first with religious and then ballooning into political problems as well. And the focus of the fighting was actually in Central Europe, particularly where Germany is now. If you take a look at this map here, it's the dark brown area. That's where most of the fighting took place in the 30 years. However, just not there as well. Also, you had fighting where Bohemia is, where today the Czech Republic is, and it also included fighting where Spain and Poland and Austria and then Sweden and the Netherlands were as well. So you have two sides that develop. You have mainly Spain and Poland and Austria, which are basically Catholic, on one side, and then you have the Netherlands, Sweden, and others that are mainly Protestant. So there you have the Catholic and Protestants. And then you have personal ties and political interests develop, and then it was just a free-for-all after that. This was a war in which there was brutal death ensued, with great devastation for 30 years. In 1648, Peace of Westphalia came about, and there's the spelling at the bottom, Peace of Westphalia. And that's in the middle of Germany, and they got together and they talked how to work out the problems, and it ended the war in 1648. 1648. So the Peace of Westphalia brought peace to Europe finally after 30 years of constant war. So peace finally comes to Europe after the Peace of Westphalia. And what happens is, who were the big losers at the end of the war? Well, it was the Habsburgs. Now, who were the Habsburgs? The Habsburgs were the ruling family of an area called Bohemia. On this map, you can kind of see it's in the middle, toward the right. Over there, it's half in dark green and half in very light green, called Bohemia, that area there. And the Habsburgs ruled over a very diverse people, different cultures and languages. And the Habsburg ruler was a guy by the name of Charles VI. And he didn't have a male heir, and his daughter then took over, and that daughter's name was Maria Theresa, and you can see an image of her there. Now, she is the very first woman to rule over Habsburg lands at this time. Now, in 1740, Maria Theresa and the Habsburgs went to war with Prussia. Now, the Prussian king, as you can see here, is Frederick II, or Frederick the Great. You might know him by that name. He invaded the Habsburg province of Silesia. You can see it on the map here, that small little area, the yellowish area. And Maria Theresa asks for help from Hungary, nearby Hungary, and gets it. However, Prussia is still very powerful and never really leaves Silesia at this time. So a little bit more about Frederick the Great. He is King of Prussia, and he built a huge army. Prussia is mainly known for its military. It's not around anymore. However, it was known for its military. It's a military state. And so this is a famous quote that I love. Make sure you please write this down. It says, quote, "Prussia is not a state with an army, but an army which possesses a state." Once again, Prussia is not a state with an army, but an army which possesses a state. That shows you how powerful they were. Everyone had to serve, very strict. They're into fighting war. It's all about warfare. And so Frederick the Great forced all of Europe to really accept Prussia as a real power. That's one of the keys that he wanted, was for everyone in Europe to take Prussia seriously, and we're a force to be reckoned with, if you will. And finally, for the last slide, the results of the 30 Years' War, 1618 to 1648. Roughly around 1/3 of the Germanic population died in the 30 Years' War, so 33%. German lands were devastated, as you can well imagine, after 30 years of war. France won land from Germany and Spain. Germany was divided then, after the Peace of Westphalia, into 360 little states, principalities really. And so just think of the United States. We have 50 states. What if you divided all those states into smaller states? How about 360 different little states, each with their own rules and regulations and people ruling, little kingdoms, if you will. That's what Germany was like at this time. It would actually not become one solid nation country until 1870, with unification, all these different states coming together to be one Germanic state there. Habsburgs lost land as well, and the Netherlands and Switzerland became independent nations. And finally, two new powers emerged because of the 30 Years' War, going into the late 1600s and into the 1700s, and that's Austria and Prussia. Thank you for listening.